Hello, everybody. It's Alex Ihama. Alex Ihama at the Corporate University. This is yet another episode on the topic of systemic racism. As you know, we are in such a time that we can no longer be silent. As Edmund Burke once said, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing. I'm proud that you are taking the time to learn about systemic racism through our series. So we always like to keep them short. And today's episode, we want to talk about why Black life matters, right? We see Black lives matter, and some people take offense to that. Some people take offense. They say, oh, well, all life matters. Well, when we say Black life matters, we're not saying all life doesn't matter. If your natural tendency is to adopt the critical perspective of it, then perhaps you need to educate yourself just a little bit more. Hopefully this short video educates you on the concept of why Black lives matter. For over 500 years, going 600 years, Blacks, over 20 million Blacks were stolen, kidnapped from Africa, certainly not of their free will. They were enslaved. They were put in ship. Remember, 500 years ago, so it's not like you're going on a cruise ship right now. Some of those ships, they had to throw them off because if they fell sick or they look weak, they just throw them overboard, feed them to sharks, right? This is what history tells us, so it's not an opinion. So why do Black lives matter? Well, for over 500 years, we have been denied access to basic human rights, education, good housing, justice, political power, and other rights according to our fellow white folks. We've been relegated to the back of the bus, my friend. We all know that. But yet, most of us don't know that we were forbidden, to use the washroom that we cleaned for white people. We were denied the right to vote, considered incapable of learning, forbidden from schooling, forced Black women to give birth to their babies in animal farms while white women will give birth at a hospital. Why do Black lives matter? Black lives matter because we were forced to construct buildings and systems that we could not benefit from and refused to be acknowledged and recognized for our inventions and much more. Our names were switched for the names of our white masters, and the graves of Black people remain shallow, shameful, and unmarked. Why do Black lives matter, my friend? Black lives matter because for over 500 years, we were objects of sexual, verbal, and physical abuse from almost anyone and everyone who considered themselves white. White men raped their female slaves, Black slaves at will, and killed their husbands if they complained. White men burned down the homes of Black people who were either suspected of anything minor or seemed to be progressing in life. Why do Black lives matter? Come on. If Blacks brought charges against white people, the case were automatically thrown out or settled in favor of the white, right? We still see that going on today in our judicial system. We see that all the time, right? White police officers kill Black people, nothing come out of it. Right, we're hurt over the passing of George Floyd, but we are seizing the momentum, the waves that is going out to educate people. As I said in one of my presentations, being ignorant doesn't make you racist. The reason we are doing these videos is not to promote hate, is not to propagate anything, it's more to educate people. If you understand the history of Black people, you won't take offense at the concept of Black Lives Matters. Yes, there are people hijacking the platform for their own political objective, but the essence that Black people must begin to be recognized is not a question. United Nations have come up with, a declaration that Black people have been subject to far too much injustice, and it was time for nations to step up. Why do Black lives matter? You're asking that question. For over 500 years, my friend, we have been hunted like animals, spat upon, denied access to neighborhoods and schools, even when we can afford them. It's still going on even now. We have constantly faced opposition, oppression, objection for no other reason than the color of our beautiful skin. When people and systems perceive our progress, they become uncomfortable. It's still going on even now. Why do Black Lives Matter? The police consider us people of interest for no reason, just because we're Black. The judges do not even give us the benefit of the doubt. And we have remained the guinea pigs for every scientific and experiment on the planet. We must work twice as hard for half the pay of our white counterparts. And instead of being invited to the corridors of power, guess what? We are left in the backyard of shed, in the backyard shed of pain, of darkness, of uncertainties and poverty. Why do Black Lives Matter? You want to know why Black Lives Matter? For over 500 years, my friend, we were forbidden from shaking hands with white people. We had to give up our seats to them, from having any form of relationship with them, to the extent that slave owners strictly forbade their slaves from being informal with their children. In fact, there's an historic account, which of course is probably happening even today, of a white lady who once told the daughter who had said, "Mommy, I love my nanny," right? The little girl didn't see color, just, "I love my nanny." And the woman says, "Sweetie, stop telling your nanny that you love her, for we are not supposed to love Black people. They are savages, incapable of feeling love or giving love. They are meant to be used and discarded if no further use of them is required." Why do Black Lives Matter, my friend? For so long, our mental and emotional state has been abused and disregarded that many of us now struggle with self-worth. We have not even dealt. We were not even dealt with the short end of the stick, as they say, but rather beaten down time and time again by the system that we help to build. So when you hear Black Lives Matter, like I said, it's not about other lives. Doesn't certainly other lives matters as well as Black people, but Black people in North America, if you do your history, and I hope you've gone to see episode 1, 2, 3 or so, but if you go back and see those other episodes, you begin to understand what systemic racism is. It's coming from scientific racism to structural racism to systemic racism. There were times on this planet, not far too long, that they said Black people have no soul. Kill them with no recourse. It was written down, right? So, and they hunted us with dogs and killed us like dogs, right? So the fact that, there's a movement going on around now called Black Lives Matter, I'm certainly not vast with all what they are doing around the world, but the concept in itself, my friend, must be respected, must be appreciated, and must be supported. My friend, indeed, Black Lives Matters. And it is time that we all come together as one to defend everyone, certainly to defend and preserve the Black people that were brought, 20 million of them brought against their consent to build the North America that we enjoy today. I hope this short video has been helpful and inspires you to stand up, to speak up, to step out, especially against systemic racism. If you want any of this workshop in your organization, please send us an email, alex@alexyama.com. Visit alex@alexyama.com, schoolofgreatness.ca, or thecorporateuniversity.ca. These programs we are facilitating right now for corporate organizations, for churches, for community, for schools. And if we are going to end the systemic racism, all hands must be on deck. All hands must be on deck, right? All hands must be on deck, and we must engage each other to increase the awareness. It's one thing to put policies, but without education, policies are not sustainable. All right. God bless you, and indeed, Black life matters. God bless.